with Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook. This is Racing Dreams.
Oh yes, great to have your company for our final episode of this series, and what a few weeks we've had.
Oh, what a few weeks. Good morning to you and good morning to you at home. It has been sensational. This spring has just gone so quickly. This autumn has just gone so quickly, and already the focus is turning to the spring because the conversation has already started about the Everest, and rightly so, given some of the performances we've seen. But of course, we've got a big show to get through today. Speaking of, he conquered Everest and now has Group 1 winner next to his name. Trainer Clayton Douglas joins us live.
We chat to apprentice jockey Tyler Schiller. What an autumn he's had. His first Group 1, Maria Mia.
And ATC director Angela Bell McSweeney shares one of the greatest love stories of her life. First up, though, some big news out of the racing world in the past 24 hours, Timmy, with Godolphin announcing superstar Animo has been retired to stud. So with 9 Group 1 victories, the 4-year-old is the most successful horse ever at Group 1 level for the Blue Army.
Yeah, he won 14 of his 25 starts. You'll remember he came second in the Golden Slipper, earning more than $12 million in prize money. Some of his famous victories include the Caulfield Guineas in 21, the Rosehill Guineas 2022, the 2022 Cox Plate,
and this year the Chipping Norton and the George Ryder. So Animo retires from racing as only the second Australian horse in more than 20 years to win a Group 1 at 2, 3 and 4 years of age. His trainer, James Cummings, saying he simply is the best that I've ever had the privilege of training. So the Animo chapter ends for racing fans here, which is a shame, but he will go on to start and be highly successful there, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. There it is, Animo. But one of the trainers of the moment, of course, he's extraordinary. We watched Giga Kick last week in the All-Age Stakes.
We certainly did. Clayton Douglas can now call himself a Group 1 winning trainer. He deserves to have that big smile on his face. Clayton Douglas, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Clayton, I caught up with you earlier on in the Autumn Carnival. This is the one you wanted. You've got the Everest win, but that Group 1 is what you were so desperate for. How does it feel?
Yeah, look, it was an unbelievable feeling, to be honest. It was great. It was probably everyone's seen. I had a little bit of a tear after the race. It means a lot, and, it's what we really strive for. So just really happy to be able to tick that off for the horse. Been so proud of his efforts all autumn. All 3 runs were super, and to finish off his Sydney campaign at that point with the Group 1 win, very happy.
Well, it just goes to show how much talent, or how much extra talent this horse does have, getting out to the 1400 and looking powerful at the line. Yeah,
look, it was very, very good to be able to go third up into the 1400 off a solid tempo, and the way he won too. He really ambled up sort of top of the rise and put him away comfortably. It was a really, really good win, and it was a nice, comfortable watch. So, he's beating the likes of Zaki and Cascadian, who are, superstars of our sport. And, he's obviously a horse that's on the rise, and to be doing what he's done at 3, it's phenomenal.
Clayton, am I correct in saying that you almost scratched him that morning because of the track conditions?
Yeah, look, we were a little bit concerned how heavy the track was going to be. It was not a be-all, end-all to have to run. So, we're always going to look after him. If the track had come up quite heavy, and obviously going to the 1400, I was happy enough to pull him out. But having spoken to track manager, he was quite confident that the track had held up really well. Obviously a pretty big couple of weeks in Sydney, and as you can see, the track was actually in really good order. It raced really well throughout the day, and we pulled the right rein and come out on top, so it was awesome.
Yeah, Michael Wood and his team did a fantastic job. They really did. Now, have you got breaking news for us? You teamed up so beautifully well with James Harron Bloodstock last year, and you took out the Everest. It was so quick. It just went boom, boom, boom. There you were, very confident in the week leading into the race. Giga Kick comes out and wins. Are you locked in for the Everest campaign of 2023?
We actually aren't locked in just yet, I don't think. No, it's he's still got one more run this campaign at this stage. So hopefully all goes well. He'll head to the Doomben 10,000 in a few weeks' time, and he's come through his all-age win really well. So I'm looking forward to getting him up there, and hopefully he can show what he's got up there as well. And that'll obviously finish off his autumn, the one run for the Doomben 10,000, and then we'll sort of be gearing up for the spring. But yeah, look, he seems to be in really good order, really good shape. He's done terrifically well this autumn. He's obviously had a big spring last campaign, and probably brought him on as a horse this time round. He's a lot more physically stronger, and he's coping really well with everything. So yeah, can't wait to sort of get him back to the races. He's obviously the stable star, and just excited to have a horse like him.
Well, enough about Giga Kick. How are you coping? Because your life has changed somewhat as well. You know, you were saying earlier, just a few weeks ago, that, you know, once upon a time you probably wouldn't have been doing all this media, and here you are chatting to the media non-stop about this incredible horse and this incredible journey. Yeah, look, it's phenomenal to think. Like, I think it was nearly 14 months to the day he won a maiden at Sale, and to then win a Group 1, and like you say, to be you know, front and centre and have probably one of the most exciting sprinters around at the moment. It's awesome. And, you know, for a young person like me, it's, you know, sort of go to bed at night dreaming is to have a really good horse, and to think I've got one on my hands. It's, you know, great to think.
Oh, mate, unbelievable what he could do. And I listened to Craig Williams talk during the week. Now, lots of things have changed, but you still had to line up for a cab, mate. You had to line up for a cab and a kebab last week. What's going on?
Yeah, it was quite funny actually. Had a few friends and stuff there, and we had a bit of a dance in the mounting yard after the races, and yeah, I thought, I need to get back to Coogee, so yeah, jumped in a cab, and a lot of people were in line saying, "What are you doing here? You should be driven around." And I said, "No, keep to the grassroots. It's much easier just to jump in the cab and get home." So, very funny. It's you know, it's great. It's you know, just such a long day too. Obviously, having a horse like him and the nerves of it all, and you know, it's very tiring to have a horse like him. But at the same time, it's a great thing to have. And yeah, I was just looking to head home and have a bit of a rest before we went out for dinner.
Not too tiring if you were still out dancing to Hot Tub Time Machine.
And having a little bowler passer down there at Las Piaggio and Coogee. Look, it sounds like a pretty good night to me. And look, that cab driver probably got a thrill to have a Group 1 winning trainer in his cab. You no doubt have a wonderful horse. It's just going to be great to watch what happens next. Of course, he's going to be a short price favourite in that Doomben 10,000, and then I'm sure that phone will run off the hook towards the Everest. Good on you, mate.
Thank you, guys, and appreciate having on. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, Clayton. We'll see you soon. Well, as we say goodbye to another wonderful Sydney Autumn Carnival, there have been so many incredible highlights, Tim.
Who could forget the emotional first Group 1 victory for Tyler Schiller? He's a great young man, the talented young jockey guiding Maria Mia to victory in the Galaxy.
As Maria Mia takes the lead. Maria Mia's drawn a length clear. Uncommon James clear now. Maria Mia in front from Uncommon James. Cannonball. And Maria Mia wins the Group 1 Galaxy.
Well, this young man has come of age well and truly. Tyler Schiller has ridden his first Group 1 winner.
Tyler Schiller, what an autumn. When you look back on it, Group 1, Maria Mia.
Yeah, it's unreal, Tim. Maria Mia is obviously the highlight. I had a lot of good support and winners through the autumn, which was great to get a kick along in the premiership and be able to stick up there with the top. But yeah, Maria Mia was definitely the star.
Joe Pride, now you've had a close relationship with him as well, obviously, as Mark Newnham.
Yeah, he's supported me a lot from the start. I've had a lot of winners for him and had a great strike rate, especially last season. I didn't have a lot this season until Maria Mia, but it was great to get back aboard and get back in the camp, and especially on a big day. Mark supported me a lot as well, though. Coming through, he's never doubted me, and he's always given me the great opportunities of great horses, and to be able to get into the Group 1s with him, with King Frankel and Expat in the Coolmore, it was great to go in those races and ride for Mark, definitely.
Can you go back to that day? Can you go back to that day where you won on Maria Mia and tell us what it was like? Because it was very emotional as well.
Yeah, before the race it wasn't much of a build-up. I wasn't. The expectations weren't high that I was in the market. I was double figures and just hopeful that a good gate and a great training performance was going to get me over the line. And it all worked out on the day. She jumped super, put herself in the spot, and then after the race it was a great thrill to come back to the owners cheering and come back to Joe, and it was very delightful.
And the Galaxy, a fantastic race. You got very emotional about your dad's health battle, and it was a bit tougher back then.
Yeah, he's been doing it tough the last year. It's great that lately his treatment's changed and it's a bit closer to home for him, and I think it's getting a lot better. Hopefully he can keep fighting it off and the cancer will disappear, but yeah, it was a very emotional win. I was very happy to get a Group 1 before he passed on, but hopefully if he can keep kicking I can get a few more for him.
Does it drive you forward knowing that all your family and friends are watching? You've got a big connection down there in Young.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of families down there that support me, and I still get messages of friends and family down there, so it's great to be able to connect with them and be able to get some big winners and be on the world stage in front of them.
Mark Newnham, he brought you through as a boy. You've been here 4 years now and he's off to Hong Kong. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for Mark. I'd love to go over there one day, but probably not at this point. But it's great for Mark. Hopefully he can get a good kick along over there. It's something he's always wanted to do, and if I could get over there one day and hopefully ride for him again, it'd be a great opportunity. But good opportunity for Mark, and hopefully he can kick some goals.
Do you pinch yourself sometimes? Because we spoke at this track a few years ago, I think it was probably 2 years ago, and we spoke about the injury, how you had the car accident and doctors thought you'd never ride again.
Yeah, it's great to be able to be here and get the whole experience. I never thought I'd come this far in my career. I always thought country's probably going to cap me off, but to get up here and improve that much, hopefully coming out of my time I can improve again and stamp myself in Sydney, and I'd love to stay up here for the rest of my career.
Was there a genuine point there where you thought you'd never ride again?
Definitely. When the doctors told me, I thought they're the professionals. I took their advice, but with a grain of salt. I definitely worked hard to get back here where I was. I did a lot of physical work just to try and get it strong like it was before, and I believe it's stronger than what it was before.
So what's next for you?
Hopefully just keep kicking some goals in Sydney. I'd love to win the Apprentice Premiership, but just got overtaken by Zach there, so it's going to be a bit of hard work, but I'm ready for it, and I think just to base myself in Sydney for 3 or 4 years would be great.
Are you living your dream, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. This is what I dreamed of.
Living the racing dream. Well done.
Absolutely.
Tyler, you've made next season's promo.
Absolutely, it's got to be there.
Well, it is always a treat when we are joined by Mr. Arrowfield himself. Good morning to you, John Masara.
Hi, Julie, and hi, Tim.
Morning, John. What an autumn for Arrowfield and Arrowfield Stallions securing the 2-year-old Triple Crown.
Well, it's a sort of a dream come true. It's so difficult to have a Group 1 winner by a stallion, but to actually notch up the Triple Crown, the Golden Slipper, the size and the Champagne. Wow.
Well, just on that Golden Slipper, Shinzo's win in the Slipper gave champion size Snitzel his second winner of the world's richest race for 2-year-olds, so that's not a bad honour either.
Well, Snitzel does everything. He's just such a versatile animal. He just keeps on keeping on, and he's 20 years of age, but he's as good now as he was 10 years ago. It's amazing. He's quite an amazing animal.
Yeah, and now as we're looking at the race here, but we look towards next year's autumn, and who knows which horse, either side by an Arrowfield Stallion or another Arrowfield connection, could be part of the Triple Crown next year, because the English Easter sale was extraordinary. You had 68 yearlings. the biggest draft yet.
Yeah, it was a big task. We had 68 that qualified for the sale. We started off with 68 and we actually landed with 68 at the sale, which is most unusual because usually during the preparation 1 or 2 drop off. Well, this didn't happen. So we had our hands full. We had one horse every 6 lots, which meant we were on the ball right through the sale. And the sale turned out to be a better sale than I thought it might be. It was buoyant at the top end, a little bit weaker below at the lower end perhaps, but overall a very, very good sale.
Yeah, just on that, there was a bit of trepidation heading into the sale, but 26 horses sold for $1 million or more, the second highest amount of millionaires at a Southern Hemisphere yearling sale. Did that surprise you, given what we'd seen in the lead-up?
Well, it did because sort of the economy was a bit toppy and people were talking about higher interest rates and you felt that this might affect the marketplace. But look, there were so many stallion buying syndicates of groups put together to try and buy colts that were turned into stallions, a bit like Shinzo and those others, militarised. And then there were international buyers there as well. There were studs trying to buy brood mares by buying fillies, high-quality fillies. So at the first top half of the sale was very competitive. It was less competitive in the lower half of the sale, but I think that was somewhat affected by the economy, as we had anticipated. But overall, the sale was terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're on to the breeding season for Arrowfield, and 7 stallions, including the mighty Snitzel. Yeah, Snitzel leads them again. His fee is going to be a little bit higher than last year, but not much. But I think the interest in him is amazing. We get continuous interest in people wanting to use him. It's coming, even at this age of his life, people are discovering him. So that's wonderful. But there's also interest in the other horses, such as Morris and, of course, Dundeel, who produced 2 of the Group 1 winners. And so it goes on. The Autumn Sun, a young stallion of ours that has his first 2-year-olds this year. He's had a lot of winners and place getters out of the 8 or 10 horses that have raced so far. He's looking very promising. So, no, we're going into the season with a lot of confidence that we're going to have a good year again.
Just before we let you go, John, you were so instrumental in the formation of the championships concept here in Sydney for the Autumn Carnival. What did you make of this year's Autumn? It just seems there were highlights sort of everywhere you looked.
And it gets better and better. And there are probably little things you can continue to adjust. But overall, I think the concept is working. The Sydney Autumn is all-powerful. And you're right. There were features over the 2 days that are quite unforgettable for us in the industry and for those looking in from outside. No, it's working well. I have to say it's working well. And having the sales sandwiched in between means that people can come from all over the world here for a solid week of thoroughbred racing and breeding, as it were.
Quite appropriate that you mentioned the word sandwich, because I was trying to find a way to get food into a charcuterie, and you've just finished. You actually dovetailed beautifully into that. So we'll be up there to see you soon at Arrowfield, and of course Marzu in the Everest, and great to have a chat, John.
Thank you, and look forward to it.
They now call that charcuterie board the Gilbert at Arrowfield Stud. Stay with us. Coming up, we're live to Hawkesbury ahead of today's Cup. Plus, we sit down with ATC Director Angela Bell-McSweeney to talk racing, fashion and breaking the barriers.
Great to have your company, Racing Dreams. Our final episode of the autumn. Of course, 6 weeks of world-class racing is now concluded with a record-breaking Sydney Autumn Racing Carnival.
But there is no rest for the wicked. Now, all the focus turns to the spring. There is also a very big day at Hawkesbury today. That is where we find Mark Brassel from Racing New South Wales. Good morning to you, Mark.
Good morning, Julie. Good morning, Tim.
Great to have you on the program. It's nearly 20 years, the standalone Hawkesbury, and it's a beautiful day, mate. Tell us about it.
Oh, the sun's peeping through. It looks fantastic. 18th year. I reckon I've been to about 15, so I absolutely love it. It's a bit of a double whammy. You get the best trainers, jockeys, prize money, horses, obviously, and it's got a country sort of festival type of atmosphere. So it's just a day I love, and there'll be a massive crowd here, guaranteed.
And we'll be catching up with the CEO of the club shortly, James Heddo, and to get all the details. But some good horses going around there today as well, Mark.
There is. I've done a little bit of form. Now, I think Nash can win a couple of races. He's in the Hawkesbury Guineas and the Hawkesbury Crown, Hawaii 5-0 and Princess Grace. I think he can nearly nail both of them. As I said, it's great racing, so I'm really looking forward to it. I think everyone will be. I think $1.6 million worth of prize money.
Yeah, I'm going to follow Nash today on your advice. You've got the good oil. Now, more than $41 million in prize money, 18 Group 1, 60 races. What an autumn we've seen as the carnival wrapped up last week. Give us your snapshot, your look back.
Oh, well, probably one of my favourite races was the Queen Elizabeth. I mean, Dubai Honour, he was pretty much rated a second-tier horse in UK. He comes out here and blows us away. But I think there's a bit of a carbon copy there. I think you look back at Adayab, he pretty much did the same. He was rated a second-tier horse, came to Australia, and I've got no doubt it's the Sydney Sunshine. He went back and won the Group 1 Champion Stakes at Royal Ascot. And I think there's something in that the Sydney Sunshine. You look at also in humans. You look at Buddy Franklin. He used to play for Hawthorn in that terrible wet town. Came to Sydney and went to new heights. So there's something in the Sydney Sunshine, I think.
Sorry, are we talking to Peter V'landys this morning? Or are we...
Good morning to Buddy Franklin. I love Buddy.
Good morning,
right
Buddy. Big fan of Buddy. Big fan of Buddy. Mark, just on the internationals, we had some of the biggest names in the world out here. You're right, chasing the Sydney Sunshine. The carnival was broadcast to more than 60 countries. What do you make of the impact of the internationals? Not just the jockeys, but the trainers, the horses, the performances that we were privy to witness. Oh,
I mean, wow, Julie, they were just special, weren't they? I mean, Dubai Honour, like I watched it out in the, with all the people, and they were just yelling themselves hoarse. This horse has just sort of come over here and gone bang. William Haggis, how good is he? And Aussie Tom, we've embraced Aussie Tom Marquand. He's our own now, really, but it was just fantastic to watch. And the crowd, the championships is something else. And you had John Masara on there earlier. Him and PVL were the two instrumentals in getting that going. So, it's here to stay, isn't it, really? And the world has set up and take notice. And the prize money is just astronomical.
Yeah, well, as you talk about prize money, our focus now, our lens starts to lead towards the spring, and we're only out for a few months and then we're back. We'll go into the spelling paddock, Julie and I, and then we'll come back for Racing Dreams, the Everest. We've got Marzu, of course, already in because Marzu was signed on for 2 years with John and the Star. But Giga Kick, boy, oh boy, it's an exciting proposition, isn't it? And I wish I win.
Well, I wish I win. I remember I backed him in a midweek at Sandown one day, and from the 150 to the 100, he was in all sorts of bother and just exploded once he got out. So I followed him all the way through from then. I did think Peter Moody was going to go the Doncaster, so, after the Golden Eagle 1500. I was so surprised to see him come back and be a sprinter, but any horse in the world, really, that can give Giga Kick a start and a beating is something special. So, the world's his oyster, isn't it? Really, the world. He could go to Ascot, couldn't he?
Well, already we are talking about the spring, which is just the magic of the Everest and the whole concept. Mark, it's been a pleasure to chat to this morning. I hope we get to see you in the spring because I've really enjoyed our time with you.
Oh, fantastic. And Tim did say to me, have you found something to follow? I reckon I've got one, a horse called August Bloom. It's only had 3 starts for Peter Snowden, hasn't won a race yet, but I think she might come back a bit of a under-the-radar type horse for the spring. So I think everyone should put that in the black book, August Bloom.
August Bloom, and it dovetails beautifully into some of the discussion that we've had with Sydney Sunshine and Buddy Franklin. August Bloom. That's a nice one, Mark. Enjoy everything that Hawkesbury has to offer today, my friend, and thanks for coming on the show.
Look forward to it. All the best, Tim and Julie.
Thanks, Mark. Well, for decades, Angela Bell McSweeney has worn many rather stylish hats. She is a proud mother, a successful businesswoman, and the person responsible for introducing fashions on the field to racing in New South Wales.
Angela is a proud ambassador of racing and in 2016 became just the third woman to be elected as a director to the board of the Australian Turf Club.
Well, it's one of the greatest loves in my life. To me, it's the theatre of life. Right through my life, I've wanted to introduce as many players to the game as I can and introduce other people so that they can have the same love and the enjoyment that I've had from racing. My name is Angela Bell McSweeney and I'm a director of the Australian Turf Club and chair of the ATC Foundation. I'm third generation racing. My grandfather, Patrick Nayland, was a leading trainer of the 40s and 50s. And on my dad's side, his uncles were jockeys who came first, second and third in the 1896 Doncaster at Royal Randwick. So racing has been a huge part of my life. My parents owned over 100 horses, so I've actually been at the track since I was about 6 years old. I think my love of the glamour and the fashion element and the excitement of racing came from seeing my mother's friends arrive on a Saturday morning. They'd all be dressed up in their wonderful frocks and hats and gloves, and I'd see them going off just with great merriment and happiness. So I just thought it must be a wonderful place to be, and for me it has been. As soon as I walk on a racetrack, I feel fantastic. Racing is a cultural import from England, and if you think of My Fair Lady and the Ascot Gavotte and that scene where they were all dressed in the black and white, that's where our racing comes from. So that's why we do dress to such an extent. It started in the country towns. There's a story that first of all there was a church, then the schoolyard and then the racetrack. So the country women would get a chance to dress up and take the whole family for racing. So that wonderful element of racing going with fashion has remained, and it's a very important element to our Australian racing that I don't think we'll ever lose, because again that's a sense of experience for young people, and all young people seem to want an experience right now, so dressing up is very much a part of the element. It was quite sad because the social press had stopped and the dressing was going down. So they called me in and said, what could I do with my entrepreneurial spirit to bring back the young people, bring some excitement. And I've always believed that racing needs to be in all sections of media, glossy magazines, television, electronic media. So I thought if I staged the fashions on the field with enormous prizes, and I had over $100,000 in prizes that we'd give away, that would help entice the young people and everyone back to racing, and it would also serve as a showcasing to take racing into all areas of the social press and the media, and it worked. About 20 years ago, I ran and I was encouraged by the members, and I was voted in this time by the members. So many members were saying, Angela Bell, run. So I did run, but unfortunately racing at that stage was quite chauvinistic. There was a front page photograph of me on the Herald when I was defeated that said, AGC's #1 rule, no Schillers. But I'm glad that that doesn't exist anymore, that chauvinism's gone, and now out of 7 directors we actually have 3 females. So it's very important to me. But I really do want to see the girls take on more leadership roles, which they are, even now with the media. We've got so many wonderful presenters, all the trainers and the jockeys. It's fantastic. To me, Peter V'landys is an absolute genius. He's taking our New South Wales racing to a whole new era, and wherever I go all over the world, people can't believe it. When I mention that both of our combined carnivals give prize money of $101 million, they're just gobsmacked. And Peter bringing the Everest, which again has brought all the young people back. You would have been here on the day of the Everest. I mean, I was almost in tears with emotion. It was just such a wonderful day. 50,000 people singing Sweet Caroline. So now I really do feel with Peter V'landys and his visionary ideas for racing for the future and our wonderful chairman, Peter McGorran, we have a new era in New South Wales racing, and I think it's the best in the world. I would love to think that they were proud of me. I was brought up to always give back. And my mother was a great charity worker and my father always gave enormously to racing. So hopefully they'd be proud of my role as ATC chair for our foundation, because the foundation does wonderful work. Young people are coming along for so many elements. The entertainment at the end of the day, the experience of dressing up. We've got the punters pack, $55, which is great value. And then we've got the members where you can have champagne and chicken sandwiches. So I feel in my heart that racing is going to go to the stratosphere because we've got it all. Best horses, best jockeys, best trainers and dedicated owners, and a very dedicated team here at the Australian Turf Club. And I've got a group of wonderful directors supporting everything.
Well, today marks the 17th anniversary of the inaugural Hawkesbury standalone meeting, and there is another big day of racing in store for the Hawkesbury Gold Cup Day. Hopefully Julie and I will find some winners.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Let's head out there now again. That's where we find CEO James Heddo. Good morning to you, James.
Yeah, good morning, Julie and Tim.
I saw the update yesterday with your track manager. He was saying soft 5. A chance of that improving, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. The sun's out today and the weather's really good, so we're quite confident that we'll end up in the good range and really happy with how the track's come up.
We were just talking a little earlier in the program, a 10-race card there today, including 3 Group 3 races. A sensational day ahead and some really impressive runners as well.
Yeah, look, it's a great event for us here at Hawkesbury. It gives horses who have gone through the championships an opportunity to continue racing for good prize money and stay local. So we're really pleased with the quality of the jockeys, the trainers and the horses that are here today, and it's very proud in the community that we can attract that quality to our track.
And the Cup is the major focus, the Hawkesbury Gold Cup?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great race, over the 1,600 metres, and again, great quality race and a very open race. So to have floating artists go around who ran 4th in the Melbourne Cup and a couple of other quality gallopers, it's really exciting.
What else have we got on offer trackside as well, James? Because, you know, fashion's on the field, such a huge part of the day, and we're also seeing so many of the race clubs really embrace, you know, the DJs and the marquees and all the different events to bring that younger crowd in.
Absolutely, Julie. Yeah, we've got a local DJ here, Matt Ellings, and he'll play in an area there where the young ones will be focused, a bit of a party zone. We really focused on the GA area after last year. All our packages sell out very quickly, so we thought, what can we add for the punter that just comes out and wants a good day out on the lawn? So, yeah, DJs, and our fashion's on the field. We've changed the format slightly and we've gone digital, so all you'll need to do is take a photo at our fashion area, download it to your Instagram or Facebook page and add the hashtag Cup Day FOTF 2023 and you'll be entered into our competition. So it just makes it a bit easier for people to enter rather than standing around for a few hours and having to get up on a stage. So we're sure we'll get plenty of entries for some great prizes.
I think there's a slight interference on your microphone coming from somewhere, but that's okay. We can hear you loud and clear. I just wanted to reiterate a comment made by Mark Brassel from Racing New South Wales a little earlier in our show. And being a Western Suburbs boy myself, I love Hawkesbury. I love Warwick Farm. It's that nice mix, isn't it, of city, rural. It's got a bit of everything.
Yeah, for sure, Tim. And all of my team live in the local community as well, and they're very proud that we can put on this event. The whole venue looks tremendous. Everything looks fantastic. And, yeah, we're proud we can put it on. And it is a country feel, and it breaks the monotony a little bit of Rosehill or Randwick every Saturday, and we're very proud that we can put this event on.
Well, James, it's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Hopefully we'll be out there next year. Unfortunately, we're missing it today, but look forward to next year. We hope it goes well today.
I'll save you a couple of seats and I look forward to that for sure.
Yeah, and we'll be out there for a hot dog. Good on you, James. And have a great day out there at Hawkesbury.
Well, from little things, big things grow. That has very much been the case for Henry Field. The owner of Newgate Start is still only young. Henry, if you're watching, I said that, but he has made a real name for himself in the industry.
Yeah, he's clinging on to the 30s. Henry, he's 39, 10 minutes from Aberdeen in the Upper Hunter Valley. It is a lovely property and Newgate is definitely a place on the move. I caught up with Henry for Racing Dreams. So there's an old saying, Henry, bite off more than you can chew and chew like crazy. You're not even 40 years old yet. Is that what you did to start this?
Yes, Tim, we had a red hot crack. We started off in 2010 with Newgate and have built it up and really proud of what we've achieved. We're one of the leading stallion farms in Australia now and I'd say very few farms are producing better racehorses than Newgate. We've had an amazing honour roll with the graduates that have been raised in this farm over the last few years. So it's been a great run.
How did it start?
Well, initially I was working for Gay Waterhouse, which was a great apprenticeship. She was hard and tough, but very fair and a great teacher when I was a teenager. And then I did the Godolphin Flying Start course, which was an amazing opportunity. And then luckily enough got a job with Coolmore for 5 or 6 years and worked with Tom Agnew closely in Coolmore, Australia. And then from there, leased a little block of land, a bit over 100 acres on the west side of Scone and just built it up organically from there. And probably the couple of lucky breaks I had was a horse called Fox Wedge, owned by the Bateman family and bought by James Harron as a yearling. I was given the opportunity to syndicate him as a stallion, which was the first stallion that we had. And at the same time, two of my closest supporters and great friends, and Gavin Murphy, who runs SF Bloodstock, and Matthew Sandblom, who's one of Australia's great educational entrepreneurs. I built a close relationship with them, and between us, the three of us, we've built Newgate to what it is today, and we're very proud of it.
What about Capitalist winning the Golden Slipper? Where does that sit in the Newgate story?
Well, Capitalist was a huge result, a huge result for us, winning the Slipper. Obviously, he won the Slipper and came back to be a stallion at Newgate. The Golden Slipper is such an important stallion-making race. I think Newgate's the only farm in Australia that stands multiple Golden Slipper winners between Capitalist and Stay Inside, which we're very, very proud of. But yeah, it was a huge boost, and today we've got a stallion roster with 13 stallions and some of the best stallions in Australia.
We're going to go through the 13 quickly.
Well, yeah. So I suppose some of the key stallions. Extreme Choice, so he's unquestionably or statistically the best stallion in Australia. Capitalist, who was a champion first season sire, as we just spoke about. Russian Revolution, who's just taking it all before him. And then we've got some young guns, some new horses that have come into the fray as the Golden Slipper winner, Stay Inside, who we really feel has got a massive chance to be a super important stallion. Wild Ruler, a top sprinting son of Snitzel, who retired with a very similar credential to Russian Revolution. And three very exciting new horses this year. In 2023, we're going to have Cox Plate winner, State of Rest, Golden Rose winner in the Congo, and also Artorius, who's one of the most talented horses in Australian racing.
How good is it to take people along for the ride? How good is it to see young people from here in Australia and overseas come work at your farm and have them be part of it all?
Well, I think it's a people business. The horse business is a people business, and certainly our team at Newgate, Jim Kerry, who runs the farm, has recruited some of the best people from Europe.
More famous than the American actor, of course.
Far more famous.
And funnier.
And a much better cook.
Yes.
But we've got great staff from Ireland, England, France, America, all over the world. And I'm very proud that a lot of them choose Newgate to come down to as their, as their place in Australia. They want to spend a couple of years to learn about the horse business.
What's next for Newgate?
We want to keep producing and raising the best racehorses we can. At the end of the day in this business, the only thing that really matters is the winning post, and all the marketing and whatever else. It doesn't matter. What matters is your product winning the big races, and we're very proud of the results the farm's achieved over the last few years, and most importantly, having the blue chip stallion roster in Australia, and we're just so proud of the roster of stallions we've created here at Newgate.
And racing dreams do come true. We've been saying that for 4 years now. Do you bounce out of bed in the morning?
Well, I can tell you that I'm living the dream, and you know, to think that we could have built this beautiful farm up and this wonderful operation, and every single day I feel so grateful to be able to be doing what I love doing and developing what we love developing and working with a great team of people and partners. So we're seriously fortunate, and that's, you know, something that we'll never underestimate, and just want to keep getting bigger and better, and don't want to take for granted the success we've had, because I really feel that, you know, what we've achieved in the last 10 years from a standing start gives me great optimism to what we can achieve in the next 10 years from the base that we've got now.
Perfect. Thanks, Henry.
Thanks, Timmy. Appreciate it.
Oh, just a beautiful part of the world, and to think that's been 10 years. I mean, that's exciting to think what's coming up for those guys there.
Yeah, clinging on to his 30s. Good on you, Henry.
Look forward to the 40th. For the final time this season, Brad Gray is joining us up next to talk through some of his autumn racing highlights and, of course, of today's tips. That's coming up on Racing Dreams. Welcome back to Racing Dreams.
I just gave her one little one-liner.
It's time to bring in our racing analyst, Brad Gray. Good morning to you, Brad. It is our last show of this season, and racing is at Hawkesbury today.
Sure is. Good morning, guys. Good morning, all the viewers out there. Hopefully we can end with a bit of a bang. So pretty competitive days racing. A few scratchings this morning, but as far as our main tips go, they largely remain the same. So let's start with a best bet for me, and that comes up in the lucky last by the name of Wicklow, trained by Chris Waller, to be ridden by Nash Ruella. I loved his first up run. I think he'll get the chance to balance up and really hit the line and charge late. So I think he's got a fantastic second up record. That's there on paper, and if he runs up to that previous second up form, I think he's going to be very hard to beat. Plenty of feature races, of course, right across the program. We'll start with the sprinters. That's the Gold Rush. I just think Andermatt brings the strongest form reference into this. So you look at his last start run, and that was in the Group 1 Galaxy, and I think that's just a strong reference in a lot of these. He didn't have a lot of luck. He probably should have finished on the heels there of the place getters. So back in grade, James McDonald, good speed on paper. He'll get his chance to rattle home. Hawkesbury Guineas, always risk versus reward with a horse like Cote. But if he has his mind on the job, I think he's a little bit too good. Did a few things wrong there in the Arrowfield last start, but I do like that form reference through Aft Cabin. The Hawkesbury Crown for the mares, Princess Grace right up the top. We got our first look at her last start. That was a couple of weeks ago over the championships, trained by Chris Waller, formerly trained in America. She has Group 1 form overseas, and if she improves on what she did there at her first Australian outing, I think she is the mare to beat. And the Gold Cup, new mandate. Again, Chris Waller, so we're going with a real Chris Waller theme today, it seems, but James McDonald does the steering. Love the way that he's trialled second up. He looks ready to do something, and we love a roughie. I'll throw a few into the mix for you. Race 3, Title Impact, had no luck whatsoever first up at Warwick Farm. And race 4, Home Truce. This is a horse that, again, had no luck there, but in the opponent stake. So plenty of tips there for you guys.
Oh, yeah, Anthony Cummings is big on Cote, and look, he was all talking to me the other day thinking that this horse gets the right races and wins the right races. It could be an Everest contender. So I think that's a fair tip. Now, look, we heard that cockatoo or cockatiel squealing before. We're wondering whether that is because the male model from Miranda has gone the shorts option again today. Like, is this because the Autumn Carnival is, as we pan down, there it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, the pins.
There it is.
Oh.
They haven't quite got the sun recently, but hey, we'll work on it.
Well, there has been a bit of sunshine around this autumn. It hasn't nearly been as wet as we've seen in the past. Let's look back at some of the highlights from this carnival. It has been a pretty impressive carnival. What have been some of the highlights for you?
Yeah, it hasn't lacked for anything, has it? It's had a bit of an international flavour, a bit of a homegrown flavour. So there's been plenty of highlights, of course. One of the major highlights there being the TJ Smith that lived up to the billing. We thought it was a race for the ages going into it, and it delivered in a big way. We saw Giga Kick come out and frank that form line by winning the All Age, but wasn't that a battle there for the ages as far as I wish I win and Giga Kick just locking horns down the straight. And is that a changing of the guard? I think it is. I think Nature Strip's passed the baton over to these two new emerging sprinters. We saw the International Raiders, it's become a habit now, hasn't it, with William Haggis, won the Rambit Stakes, won the Queen Elizabeth Stakes with an absolute jet of a horse. that, of course, being due by honour, took the scalp of Animo. I'm sure we'll see William Haggis again in 12 months' time targeting this exact same race. And maybe above everything else for me was just the emergence of these apprentice ranks at the moment. Wasn't it fantastic to see a couple of them ride their first Group 1 winners, that being Tyler Schiller there in the Galaxy aboard Maria Mia, and the Sydney Cup with Explosive Jack, and that was Dylan Gibbons. So we've been waxing lyrically about the depth of the apprentice ranks at the moment, and they've come out and delivered in a big way and stated it's very much, they lived up to the billing as far as us pumping up their tyres constantly, and they've got the job done. And you could see the emotion after the race, just how much it meant to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hopefully you'll get some pants on by the end of the day when you've got to go to dinner with your lovely wife. But Brad, it's been a wonderful season as always, and we look forward to talking again Racing Dreams the Everest, which will
just around the corner.
Yeah, thanks, guys. No promises on the pants front. I might actually have less clothing on as the day goes on, but we'll see what we can do.
Goodness gracious, mate.
That's a show for another time.
We're only G-rated. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Racing New South Wales, thank you. Arrowfield Stud, of course, was great to chat with John today. Our friends at the ATC and Sky Racing. And,
of course, everyone who takes the time to join us each and every week. We saw Clayton Douglas this morning. We've had so many of the trainers join us. It takes such a huge effort, so we really appreciate your help as well.
We'll see you when the spring has sprung.
See you then.
Bye.